everybody, I'm Andy Jurik at Dream Guitars, playing a really, really beautiful Ramirez guitar here. And today I want to talk a little bit about kind of an introduction to fingerstyle accompaniment and a little bit of improvisation. The really cool thing about playing fingerstyle is that it's pretty versatile. It obviously fits really well within classical guitar, but also jazz. Also just kind of the general fingerstyle tradition. If you think of people like Pierre Bensusan and Tommy Emmanuel. And what I want to talk about today is a really cool way to use fingerstyle for a 3-chord accompaniment, but also how to improvise with those 3 chords using the fingerstyle. And what I want to do is show how free you can be with fingerstyle guitar. So let's take 3 chords. Let's take a C, let's take an F chord, and a G chord. I should say these are all major chords: C major, F major, G major. So they sound great, obviously. Bob Dylan has taught us that very well. But they can be a little dense sometimes. They could just be a little too big, a little too full. Nice thing with fingerstyle guitar is we can isolate certain notes. We can isolate the specific notes that we really need from those chords. So a little bit of music theory. So a C chord, we could have as many notes in as we want, but it's all based on the same 3 notes. We have a C, we have an E, and we have a G. As long as we have those 3 notes, that's C, E, and G, it's a C chord, all is groovy. Same idea with an F chord. We can have as many notes in the chord as we want, but they have to be based off of an F, an A, and a C. And finally, with the G chord, we need the notes G, B, and D. Okay, so let's just take those 3 notes and see what we can do with them. So I can play a C chord like so. So I've got my C, E, and G. And for the F chord, I could use those 3 notes, the C, the F, and the A. And I could play it like this. So I got my C, my F, and my A. Likewise, for the G chord, G, B, and D, I could play a G here, a D, and a B. So those are those 3 chords, C, F, and G. But if you notice, if I play them all together, it's all pretty close. It's all pretty compact. That's the nice thing about fingerstyle. We can do that. So C chord, F chord, G chord, and I can play that as a fingerstyle accompaniment. Maybe something like. Just kidding. And that works well. But sometimes that can sound a little too muddy. It could be a little too low in the guitar's register. So let's expand a little bit. Take that C chord. I'm going to take that middle note, that E. I'm going to put it up an octave. So I'm going to play the E that's above this one, which would be the 1st string open. So my C chord goes from this, which is fine, to this, which is great because it sounds really nice and open. Let's do the same thing with the F chord. So I've got my C, I can play the F right there, and now I could, I could play the A right there, and the F, I could play right up here. And for that G chord, I've got the G, got the B. I'm going to put the D here, 2nd string, 3rd fret. The same kind of effect. You get this really nice, big, spacious, open effect with these chords. So now I've got C, I've got F, and I've got G. And likewise, I can use that for some really interesting fingerstyle accompaniment patterns like. It's really nice, gives you a really big, clear, open sound, not as dense as. Just a lot more space to work with. So works really well with fingerstyle. Say if I just want to play my on the right hand with my thumb on the 5th string there, my index finger on the 3rd string, and my ring finger on the 1st. I can do this. And switch to the F chord. For the G chord, I'm going to keep the 5th and 3rd strings the same with the right hand, but this time I'll pluck that 2nd string with my middle finger. Then I can go back to the C chord. And sounds all beautiful and groovy. And that's some of the that's one of the benefits, I should say, of fingerstyle guitar. It gives us these new ways to look at these chords, these new ways to accompany with these chords. Another thing I like to think about, and something that means a lot to me, is improvisation. So improvising within this this realm of playing just fingerstyle. And one thing I like to do is take a set chord progression like that C, that F, and that G, and just improvise within that to make things sound really good going from one chord to another. To do this, I'm going to take a C major scale. Okay, I'm going to play the C major scale like this. I'm going to play C on the 5th string 3rd fret, D on the 4th string open, E 4th string 2nd fret, F right above that on the 3rd fret, G is open 3rd string, A is 3rd string 2nd fret, B is 2nd string open, C is on the 1st fret, and I'll keep going. I'll play that D on the 3rd fret there, E is open, F is on the 1st fret, and G is on the 3rd fret right there. So that basic C major scale, going from that C on the 5th string 3rd fret to the G 1st string 3rd fret. Now with the right hand, for now I'm just going to think of maybe I'll use my thumb on all the notes on the 5th and 4th strings, index finger just on the 3rd string. I'll play all those 2nd string notes with my middle finger, and the notes on the 1st string I'll just play with my ring finger. And that's just to keep things in kind of a set pattern, so I'm not worried too much about crossing over one finger to the next string. This keeps everything pretty stable, pretty standardized, much easier to play, a little bit less to think about. Okay, so what I want to do is think about the notes in each of those chords. And I'm going to play around with the C major scale, and whenever I get to a point where I want to switch chords, I'll land on one of those notes from the next chord. And that'll help get from one chord change to another. Let me demonstrate. So say I've got, start with my C chord, and I want to get to the F chord. What I can do is just mess around until I want to get to that F chord, and I'm specifically going to land the melody on that note, that 1st fret, 1st string F, because, of course, that's one of the notes of the F chord. Then if I want to get to the G chord, let's say I want to target that, the D 2nd string 3rd fret. I'll just wait till I get there, and then pluck that chord at the same time, and then just get to that C chord like so. So I'm just messing around with the scale. I have no objective. I'm just having fun. I'm just kind of letting things fly, just improvising very freely until I get to a note of the next chord, and I'll play that chord, emphasizing that note. So I can just freely improvise like. Gotta pluck that 3rd string a little bit louder just to let it ring out. There we go. And it's as simple as that. Just taking these, I call them open voiced chords, and just freely improvising using that C scale. The really beautiful thing about that is if you use those chords and that scale, there are no wrong notes. It will sound good because everything fits within that context of C major. So I hope that's helpful, hope that's interesting. Yeah, get out there and play some music. Enjoy, everybody. Thank you for watching.